Hi everyone, we are back. It's been 7 weeks, I believe, since we last posted a video here on the main YouTube channel. And the main reason for that is Ann Kristin and I have been away in Spain and Portugal running some private workshops, doing some scouting of some areas that we'd never been before, and also I've been working on my latest ebook, Understanding the Landscape, which hopefully should be out by the middle or late July. In this video, I want to look at the evolution of a morning, looking at some images that I made on the north coast of Spain while we were down there, and looking at the elements that made me point my camera at it, maybe considering the impact that those elements are having on the composition, and really just sort of doing a bit of a deep dive into the various elements that we put within frames and how they communicate aesthetics and our emotions. Before we dive into that, just a little bit of news and updates of where we are now. The YouTube channel, obviously I've been posting a video a week for a couple of years now, and this is just one part of our business. I make fine art prints, I run mentorships, I write other ebooks and other educational material, and of course running workshops and running the Expressive Photography Members Forum. So the demands of making weekly content for the YouTube, it becomes very arduous. It becomes a really hard thing to do when I'm busy doing all sorts of other things at the same time. So what we're going to be doing moving forward is limiting the amount of content that we're putting on the main YouTube channel to maybe once a month, where I'm going to still be very passionate about delivering education material, but the majority of the content is going to be over on the Expressive Photography Members Forum. So if you want more of my content, then please click on the link below and check out the packages that we have for the subscription, and maybe you might find that that is a great fit for you. Also, later in this video, I'm going to be giving the biggest ever discount on 3 of my most popular ebooks, Luminosity and Contrast, The Colour of Meaning, and Creativity Superpowers. I'm actually going to give a 62% discount, so you can pick up those 3 ebooks for less than the price of one of those ebooks. So please continue watching, and we will dive into that discount in a little bit more detail later on. So if we dive over into Lightroom here, we've got 4 images which I took over a period of maybe half an hour or so as the sun was rising. And this is on the north coast of Spain, beautiful stretch of coast, never tire of going there. And if we have a look, and I'm going to keep the information showing here for the short time, I am so passionate about teaching landscape photography, and one of the things I've always been very reluctant about is the way that it has been taught in the past. And I think that what I've really tried to do over the last couple of years is produce ebooks that push the boundaries of our understanding of why we point our cameras at things, to understand exactly what it is in the frame that's asking us to do so. Now, all of these images are full frame raw files, so there's been no processing done to these at all. I think I might have leveled them and done some lens corrections, but that's about it. So if we look at this first example, 2.5 second exposure, f16, ISO 31, 48mm with my 2470 Nikon lens. It's a very simple composition, 2 rocks, quite jaggedy rocks, in the ocean there, with just a couple of little delicate clouds in the sky. So all the rules about you mustn't photograph 2 of something, you shouldn't put things centrally in the frame, the horizon shouldn't be central in the frame. I've ignored everything basically, because to me it is a pleasing arrangement of the elements. It's simple, it's very subdividing the space in a kind of way. But you'll see the impact of the 2.5 second exposure has made the sea quite chaotic and quite busy. Now, in my ebooks, I talk about luminosity and contrast. They are 2 of the most fundamental things that make us engage with frames. And contrast is not just global contrast of darks and lights, it's also texture. So here we have textured rocks in a textured ocean, and then the top half of the frame is much smoother, much more atmospheric. and the delicate pre-sunrise tones make for quite a soft, calming feel, but the bottom half of the frame is decidedly energetic. So what I decided was to use a longer shutter speed, and this is 20 seconds, exactly the same composition, but you'll see what an incredible change has happened. We've lost tons of texture, we've lost tons of contrast, and if we actually were to look at the histograms of these images, you see this one's a little bit darker, and a lot of that is the darkness of the surface, the darkness of the ocean surface. It's not getting lit, it's a dark, deep ocean. Whereas the longer exposure has allowed the luminosity of the ocean to come up. More luminosity, more brightness, less contrast, calmer. So there's a direct relationship between luminosity, contrast, color, atmosphere, and the geometry of the arrangement that has a feel or a fingerprint. And this is the absolute core of the stuff that I like to teach. So in the bundle that I'm going to give you a discount on at the end here of luminosity and contrast, the color of meaning and creativity superpowers, if you want to get to grips with these concepts, there's never going to be a better opportunity to buy this kit. Plus, it is everything you need to know before the new ebook comes out, Understanding the Landscape. So that's the plugging over, back to the images. So this was, I find this a really pleasing image. It's calm. For me, as a metaphorical photographer, I love the concept of immovable, permanent objects being surrounded by flowing, moving energy and calmness in the scene. So I find this a very, very pleasing photograph. As the sun started to pop over the horizon here, we instantly have a new player. The sun has just come over, it's just starting to break through the clouds a little bit. And that point of colourful luminosity, because it's not just a bright thing, it's a colourful thing, that red, rich warmth that's coming from the sun there. And what I've tried to do with this composition, and I compose very much by feel. I don't do a lot of thinking in the landscape. I don't do a lot of thinking some of the time anyway. We've just been on a 5,600 mile road trip when gas prices have been at their highest ever, so not a lot of thought went into that. But this composition, I feel, has a very nice balance to it. We have a slightly more angular arrangement of the two rocks in the bottom left hand side here. We've got some very strong luminosity, really helping to give that uplifting feel. The sun just poking through with some nice textured clouds, and then by introducing the promontory of the mainland there on the right hand side, it's creating some nice visual weight. So there's a nice balance. And then I think the clouds have got some very nice delicate texture. And as I said, for raw files, I'm super happy with these. They hardly need any work at all, because they look great to me already. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what I would do with these images at this point in time, but I wanted to focus on luminosity, contrast, color, atmosphere, and geometry. Those elements, and here's a classic little example. We have our darkest blacks are in this area on the bottom left hand side. And we know that this headland is far away because the blacks are less intense. These transitions of texture and contrast imply depth. And that implication of depth is the best way of making a two-dimensional photograph feel three-dimensional. I genuinely feel, looking at this, that those rocks, I could reach out and touch them, and that the headland is a distant thing. So I think that's a really good example of that transition of blacks concept. The square aspect ratio is something that I shoot a lot. These are cropped in camera, so I don't have the full frame. That's not something I would hugely recommend to anyone who's starting out on their photographic journey, because you're losing all those pixels and you're committing yourself to one composition really. For me, After 20 odd years of shooting, I'm comfortable with the concept of cropping in the camera. I'm very happy with square aspect ratios because, again, there's that calmness to them. There's this sort of symmetrical feel. I've said before that you can put anything in a square and it will probably look good. You can move things around because just the way the space is divided. We're not emphasizing height and we're not emphasizing width. Everything just sits in the frame really, really nicely there. If we move to a 16:9 aspect ratio, and as the sun came up, obviously I've had to reduce the shutter speed now. So this is 8 seconds. I do have a reverse graduated neutral density filter on the top there to pull down the sky. But again, I think it feels reasonably natural and I'm quite happy with it. The 16:9 aspect ratio suddenly makes this frame feel so much more expansive. It feels, just the way the frame is subdivided, everything sits in the frame again very, very nicely. I like this a lot. And actually, you know, by throwing the kind of the closest subject off to the right-hand side and having the brightest thing up in the top left-hand side, it's quite a quirky composition because we try to read from left to right, but this is really forcing us to kind of think more right to left. So there's a kind of an edgy feel to it, but I'm really quite fond of it. So as you can see, you know, this is just 4 images over the space of, like I said, maybe half an hour, 40 minutes. And the moments that I was there, the time that I spent in the field was precious. You know, I don't get to spend an awful lot of time in the landscape anymore. Not like I used to maybe 3 or 4 years ago before COVID, where I was maybe 200, 300 days a year in the field. These days, you know, we don't get to spend that much time. I didn't make any B-roll for this. I didn't vlog about it. I didn't talk about it while I was there because I didn't want to take away from the experience. And this is one of the fundamentals about how I want to move forward with my education material, the main YouTube channel, and the Expressive Photography Forum, is that my focus is on education. I want to help educate young photographers, new photographers, old photographers who find themselves stuck in a rut. Photography looks easy, but it's not. If all the existing learning material was perfect and worked, everybody would be a happy photographer, but they're not. I speak to thousands of photographers every year and very few of them are happy. So really where expressive photography is coming from is once a month or so, we're going to post some education material here on the main channel for free because I really want to continue offering my education material to you. The main Expressive Photography Forum is my primary focus for education. People who are subscribing there are getting a couple of videos a week. There are Zoom sessions, there are little mini workshops, there's deep dives into composition, the meaning of photography, the psychology of photography, the technical and the artistic. So that has become my primary focus, basically because I need to get paid for my content because it's my job. Giving everything away for free, unfortunately, is not a very sustainable business model, and this is our business. So that's one reason for it. And then secondly, the new ebook that's coming out, I really think is going to be quite a groundbreaking concept. I'm really going to be delivering some things that are totally new and looking at landscape photography as it's never been looked at before. So I really hope you're going to jump in and purchase that as well. On to the discount. Over the last couple of years, I've released 3 ebooks: Luminosity and Contrast, The Color of Meaning, and Creativity's Superpowers. Can't even remember the name of my own book. Those 3 ebooks are quite groundbreaking in their own way, and they have been super, super popular. And as a lead up to Understanding the Landscape being released, I want to offer people who haven't dived in to purchase those books an opportunity to grab up all 3 of them for only £19.99, which is less than the price of Creativity Superpowers. So the discount code is in the description down below. please jump over to the Expressive Photography website and check that out. And also you will find a link to the Expressive Photography Members Forum where you can look at the subscription options for that, and you will be getting an awful lot of new content from me on a regular basis. And hopefully that will jumpstart and move your photography in a direction that is going to give you the most satisfaction from it. That's it for today. We are back. It's really nice to be back. It's a beautiful sunny day out there, and I think I might go for a run. I've been trying to lose some weight and get fitter, so a beautiful sunny day seems like a great time to go out and maybe have a run through the hills. So we'll be seeing you in a month or so. Sometime in July, we'll certainly be releasing some more content, or maybe even later in June. But yeah, we want to be bringing content to you when we can, really, but otherwise we will see you over in the forum, and of course if you subscribe to our newsletter you will be getting some regular updates there too. Thanks for tuning in. It's great to be back. I'm sorry it's been so long since the last time that I posted a video. To make sure that you get future updates, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification, because they are going to be less frequent and I would not want you to miss the opportunity to watch one should you wish to. Thanks for watching. It's great to be back. Bye for now.